We continue now at the top of Daf Kuf Chaf Hey Amud Aleph and Maseches Baba Basra. This is Baba Basra Daf 125a. On the previous Amud there was a Machlokas Amoraim between Rabba and Rav Nachman, and this Machlokas Amoraim was within another Machlokas Amoraim between Shmuel and the Shalchu Mitam, and the Machlokas Amoraim between Shmuel and the Shalchu Mitam, that was in a Machlokas Tanoim between the Rabbanon and Rebbe. Again, to review, the Machlokas between the Rabbanon and Rebbe was, let's say you have Shevach that happens Memela, that happens automatically after a father dies, the property improves on its own. Does the Bechor take a double portion of that? Rebbe says yes, the Bechor does get a double portion of that. The Rabbanon say no, the Bechor does not get a double portion of that. Now, within the Rabbanon who say the Bechor does not get a double portion of the Shavach that happens Memela, the question was, what about a loan? And there's a star for this loan. Let's say that loan is collected. Does the Bechor get a double portion of that loan? That's a machlokas between Shmuel and the Shalchu Mitam. That's a machlokas between Shmuel and those from Eretz Yisrael. Shmuel says no. The Bechor does, just like the Bechor does not get the Shavach Memela, the Bechor also does not get a double portion of the collection of that loan. When the orphans, when the Yorshim, when they inherit that loan, the Bechor does not get a double portion. But the Shalchu Mitam from Eretz Yisrael, they sent that no, the Bechor actually does get a double portion of that loan. And within the Shalchu Mitam that the Bechor gets a double portion of that loan, there was a machlokas between Rabba and Rav Nachman. How is that loan being collected? According to Rabba, it's specifically if that loan was collected by collecting land, then we say that the Bechor gets a double portion, but not if money is collected. And Rav Nachman says exactly the opposite. And now Abaye is talking to Rabba, and Abaye says, to you it's difficult, you make a distinction between land and money, and also to Rav Nachman with his distinction, that it's a difficulty to make a distinction between land and money. And the Gemara now starts with the difficulty according to Rabba. Abaye says to Rabba, according to you it's difficult. Ma'ishna mos, what's the difference by money? Delo, where we say the Bechor does not get a double portion of that when you collect the loan as money. The lav hani mos shavak avun, because this is not the same money that their father left them. Obviously, the father, in this situation, the father lent out money, and now money is being collected. That's different money. And so therefore he's not in possession of that money. And again, a Bechor does not get a double portion of ro'oi, he only gets a double portion of muchzak, that which is in possession. So karka nami, so when it comes to land also, lav ha karka shavak avun. This is not the same land that the father had. This is a collection of land for a debt. So why should he get a double portion of that? Viod, and further, ha'amar mar, but the master said, you yourself said, mistaber taima divnei ma'arava, what those in the west say makes sense, the ikodim savsa, because if the grandmother, if she gets up, v'zavna, and she sells the property, zvino zvine, then her sale is a good sale. And this is a case that is coming up in the Gemara. We'll see the Rashbam. Rashbam also explains the case. The Rashbam says, V'yod ha'amar mar, Rabba da'amar bu'uvda dahi savza. We're going to have this case with a particular grandmother, Dehavula bas ben bina. She had a great-granddaughter, so it's her son's daughter, Hanasua labal, and this great-granddaughter was married to a husband. And this particular daughter was in line to inherit from her great-grandmother. And then the daughter died. And after that, the great-grandmother died. And the case was the husband is coming, the husband of this great-granddaughter, and he wants to inherit from the great-grandmother, as if his wife was alive. Because the idea is his wife would have inherited, and then she would have passed it along to him. Now she already died, so he wants it to go through the wife to him. And they sent a message from there, from Eretz Yisrael, that's the people of the West, notel that the husband does not get from the wife, because these properties over here, this land, is just roi for his wife. If the great-grandmother would have died first while the wife was alive. But over here, she died before her great-grandmother. And the halach is that a husband does not take roi, he only takes that which his wife is in possession of. And Rava said on that, it makes sense what those in the West are saying, that the husband should not inherit the havale roi, labas, because this is just roy, it's not muchzak. Shekol zman shazakena b'chayim, as long as the great-grandmother was alive, Ein labas bohen klum. The daughter didn't get that property. Sharei machra hazakena. Let's say the great grandmother would have sold the property. Hanachasim b'chayi habas. Let's say she would have sold the property while the daughter was alive. Mechirasa kayemes. That sale would be good. Kain elu nichse haloves. So too, we're applying that here as well. When you're talking about the property that's being collected from the borrower, aval b'sheruuyim heinet ligvos hamal v'chovo mehen. Even though it's something that is fit for the lender to collect from, kevan shelo higiu lidei hamalva. But if it hasn't actually gotten into the possession of the lender, b'chaim while he was alive, ru'uyin hein, that should be considered roy. Do you have a boy lova have a zavin lahon, because had the borrower wanted, he could sell that property. U'misalik le'lamalva bezuzah, he could give the lender money. O b'karka acheres, he could have given him other land. Chutz mizu, not this land. Hilkach ha karka havale roy. Therefore, this land should be considered roy. Ve'en ha-bechor notel b'roy pishnayim, and again, a bechor is not going to take by roy. He's not going to take the double portion. That's the difficulty according to Rabbah. And the Gemara continues, Rav Nachman Kasha, according to Rav Nachman, it's also difficult. Maishna karka delo, what's the difference by land that we say the Bechor does not get a double portion, the lav ha karka shavak avun, because we're saying this is not the same land that the father had. He's not in possession of this land, it's just being collected for a debt. So Mos Nami, when it comes to collecting money as well, lav hani mos shavak avun, this is not the money that the father had. V'yod, and furthermore, ha'amar Rav Nachman amar Rabba bar Avua, Rav Nachman said that Rabba bar Avua said, Yisomim shagavu karka b'chovas avin, let's say orphans collect land because there's a debt of their fathers, Baal Chov, Choser v'gov mehen, that the Baal Chov is able to collect from them. And the Rashbam explains, V'od kasha cheres Rav Nachman, and this is another question, a second question on Rav Nachman, to choshev mos muchzakos tfei mi karkos, because again, Rav Nachman holds that the money is more muchzak than land. Rav Nachman made the distinction in the other direction. By money, we say that the Bechor gets double, but not by land. Ha'ibcha havalei lamemer. He should have said the exact opposite. Mishum de karka shel zehavi muchzak tfei lamalva. You can argue that the land is more muchzak to the malva, to the lender. Dahahu da'amar mishum Rabba bar Avua, because Rav Nachman himself said from Rabba bar Avua, Yisomim b'nei malva, if you have orphans, the sons of a lender, shagavu karka, specifically they collect land, min halova b'chovas avian, from the borrower, because there's a debt that their father was collecting, bal chov shel avian. So if there's, let's say, another creditor of their father, shenischayev lo avian mos, let's say their father was chayev to somebody else money, he was liable to pay someone else money, choser v'gova osamehan, that bal chov is able to collect the land from the orphans. V'im lo haya muchzak biad avian. Now, if that land was not considered already in the possession of their father, b'chayim, while he was alive, how could a creditor collect it? For example, let's say Yisomim, orphans, would acquire land after the death of their father. Do you think that a creditor could collect that? Of course not. So clearly, by land specifically, more than money, land that a creditor is supposed to collect, in this case the land that their father was supposed to collect for a debt, is considered more in possession. And so therefore it is difficult both according to Rabbah and according to Rav Nachman. And the Gemara continues, Amar lei, Rabbah said back to Abaya, Lo l'didi kasha v'lo Rav Nachman kasha. There's no difficulty according to me, and there's no difficulty according to Rav Nachman. Taima divnei ma'arava k'amrinan, because we're just explaining according to those in the West. We're explaining according to the Shalchum Itam, v'lon lo sviralon, but we don't even hold like that at all, so it's no difficulty whatsoever. And the Rashbam explains, L'tamayu devnei ma'arava amrinan v'lon lo sviralon. We were just answering according to the bnei ma'arava, but we don't hold that. V'shinu Yehuda kamashani Rabba anov Rav Nachman. And the answer that I, Rabba, am giving, and the answer that Rav Nachman is giving in terms of distinguishing between land and money, lo sviralon, we don't actually hold like that anyway. Devnei ma'arava, we don't hold like the bnei ma'arava. The Shalchum Itam klal, we don't hold to the Shalchum Itam at all. Elak Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, rather we hold like Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. The Amar aliva de Rabbanan, because Rav Yehuda says from Shmuel, according to the Rabbanan, ein ha-bechor notel pishnayim b'milva, that a bechor does not get a double portion in a loan at all. Uchita paskina nami hilchas alakamon, that's what we paskin later on. Loshna gavu mos, loshna gavu karka, it doesn't matter if they collect money or land. Ein ha-bechor notel pishnayim, the bechor does not take a double portion. And the Gemara continues, My Savsa, what is this case with the great-grandmother that we had above? Da'ahu da'amar lahu, because there was a person who said to them, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video, on Daf Kuf Chaf Hey Amid Beis.